What's up YouTube, my name's Alka, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to entry frag in year 8. Now in order to teach you how to do this, I'm going to give you a basic breakdown on what entry fragging is. Let's break down the word entry fragging. First of all, entry. Entry is essentially the entering frag that you get whenever you go into the building. It's the first kill that anybody gets. That is an entry frag. It's a frag that you get when you enter the building. Very simple. Now a frag is just a kill. So an entry frag is a kill, but you get on entry. Very simple concept, very simple term. So entry fragging, again, is just a kill that you get on entry. Now, who are entry fraggers? Entry fraggers are operators that are meant to entry frag, whether it be because of their good guns, because they're a 3-speed, or because of the utility that they bring. There are certain operators that are specifically meant to entry frag. These include Amaru, Ash, Blackbeard, Blitz, Finka, Glaz, Yana, Jackal, Nock, Ying, and Zofia. Those are all of the entry fraggers in Rainbow Six Siege. Now, there are certain operators like Ash who are just meant to use their gun and their 3-speed to run in the building and get kills, but there are some operators like Ying and Zofia who are more meant to use their utility to help them get kills in the meantime. With that being said, there's multiple different playstyles of entry playstyles, so I'm going to go over each of them for you. First is the one that you probably know, the run and gun entry playstyle that most people use in rank. The run and gun entry playstyle is essentially just running into the building and trying to get kills like it's Call of Duty. There's not much brain behind it. There's not much I can really say because it's just as simple as I stated. Then there's a smart way about going about it, which is using utility to help you entry frag. Whether it's playing Zofia and using her stuns to help you get kills, or playing Ying to flash the enemies so that you and your team can walk in, get kills, and get the bomb down. Either way, using utility first and then following up with kills after to make the kills easier is this style of entry fragging and is a lot smarter and more reliable than the first style previously mentioned. Furthermore, not even including what type of playstyle you use, entry fraggers in general are not meant to drone. Unless you're in a solo queue environment where you have to drone yourself and your teammates are not droning for you, which is actually pretty common. Most of the flex and support operators are meant to get info for you. So what I would do if they're not droning you in specifically is just follow their drones when they do drone it. And if no one's droning in, then unfortunately you're gonna have to drone yourself in. But 9 times out of 10, if you just go in and you follow a drone, you will most likely get a kill, because what will happen is a support player or a flex player will start droning in, they'll see someone and they'll call it out. But a lot of the times people aren't on the drone ready to follow up on that information, so the information goes to waste. If you as an entry fragger can follow up on the drone, maybe be a room or two behind the drone, you can immediately follow up on the kill with the information and make yourself pretty useful. Now, as an entry fragger, you're meant to get kills. That's your main job. I just mentioned this previously in the intro of the video, and because of this, the people who typically want to be entry fraggers and play the entry playstyle need to be people with good aim. So if your strong suit isn't your aim, then entry fragging probably isn't for you. But if you're better at aiming than most of the people that you play with or most of the people in your lobby, then entry fragging is probably the playstyle that you need to go for. But like I said, it's not all aim. You have to use some brain with the type of playstyle that you use. Speaking of using a brain to help yourself get kills, let's talk about one very important thing, and arguably the most important thing I'll talk about in this video, and that's communication. Communication is wildly key. Not only is it important for your teammates to communicate to you when they see an enemy so you can kill them, but it's very important for you to communicate to your team when you see an enemy, or you're in a gunfight, or you get information, or when you're going to push. Either way, if you give your teammates communication on what you're doing, it can better help them help you, or better help them do what they need to do to help the entire team out. And it's very easy to do this. Every single console and PC all have game chats, so if you have a microphone, which you should, there is zero excuse not to communicate this with your team, because all it's doing is helping you. Another thing that I want to highlight is timing. One thing that you need to have good and down packed as an entry fragger is timing. You can't just run in within the first 30 seconds and expect to win the round every time. That's not how it works. You need to learn when to time your rushes. Normally what happens is you drone in first, then you see an enemy, and then you kill them. But you can't do that within the first 30 seconds of the round. You have to wait a little bit. The reason you wait a little bit is because a lot of the times your teammates can't follow up with you as fast as you, because a lot of the times entry fraggers are 3-speeds. You're also not using as much utility as people who play flex or support, so they're using utility, which also takes time. Now this brings me back to the entry fragging playstyles that I brought up at the beginning of the video. There are two main types, like I said, the run and gun playstyle and the more methodical utility approach playstyle that I think is a lot smarter and more reliable. Now, if you're playing a more run and gun approach, then timing doesn't really matter. You can kind of time it whenever you see fit that the defense isn't looking at you. Keywords, the defense isn't looking at you. You can do this style of rush and it be effective, you just have to make sure that there's nothing in your way, like somebody sitting in a corner or somebody holding a very long angle that you can't see on your drone. This is especially good for Ashe players and Nock players, because Ashe players are so quick that they're silent and Nock players are extremely silent. So if all of the defenders' heads are turned one way, you can sneak up behind them pretty easily and get yourself some free kills. But there are other entry operators, again, like Ying and Zofia, who use utility, which I previously mentioned in the video. Now, if we're talking about timing with Ying and Zofia, this is going to be very late, especially compared to the early work that I was talking about with the early entry fraggers like Ashe. So the reason that it's going to be late is not only because, one, they're slower than a 3-speed, but two, because they have to use utility. And like I said earlier, using utility takes time. Not only because you have to use utility to break utility and then play off of that utility, but also because you have to time your utility correctly, which isn't in the first 30 seconds of the round because you have to gather information. So like I keep saying, utility takes time. So the more utility you use, the more time it's going to take to be able to do what you need to do. That's why support players always last in the building, and that's why support players are anchors on defense and they see action in the last 30 seconds to a minute in the round, because using utility takes time. So depending on how much utility you think you're going to use based off of the operator that you're playing, you're going to push at a different amount of time. Now there are a few special cases to this example that I can give you. One being Nock. Nock, you have to push with her very late into the round. She doesn't have much utility to use, but you only need to push with her at the very end of the round just because of how her is used. I have an entire Nock guide if you want me to explain why. That'll put in the top right here, but just know that's how you need to be playing her. Another great example of this is Amaru. You might think that Amaru needs to push in the first 30 seconds of the round, but again, that is not true. You only use Amaru in very specific situations, and those situations need to be coordinated with a team. So what you can do is get a drone or some sort of information into the bomb site where you're going to be Amaruing into, whether it be through a window or through a hatch, it does not matter. And then once all of the defenders are turned one way and you have utility going off over here and your teammates distracting them, you Amaru up the hatch with a lion scan or a Dokkaebi call or Grimm's gadget, and you get kills in the back, just like how Ying works or just like how Nock works. Most people play Amaru like they play Ashe, and that's why you lose so much on Amaru, and now you know not to play her like that. So again, there's special situations that actually are not how you might think you need to be playing certain operators, but like you really need to go in depth on how to play these certain operators and why they have the utility that they do to better understand the correct entry style to play them with. Now that we've gone over pretty much all I wanted to talk about in terms of playstyle, I'm going to give you a playstyle for each and every single entry operator on attack. Starting in alphabetical order, we have Amaru. Like I just said, you don't want to be rushing in with her in the first 30 seconds. You want to have a time to push with her where your teammates are using utility and you're coordinated with information so that you can go in the enemy backline and get some free kills. With Ashe, you want to be rushing within the first minute and getting an entry frag onto any roamers that are on the roam. With your G36C and your 3-speed ability, you should be able to do this pretty easily. With Blackbeard, you need to be rappelling on windows or holding very long and tight angles and trying to be more of just an annoyance and a sightline holder than really a kill getter. With Blitz, you need to be roam clearing with a teammate behind you, or you need to be rushing a very important power position that otherwise couldn't be gotten without a Blitz, with again a teammate behind you to help clean it off, and using his shield to make executes onto certain power positions is a lot more important than just running at people and trying to flash them. With Finka, she's very much like Ashe, where you need to be rushing within the first 30 seconds to a minute because her adrenal surges give you an assortment of buffs that speed up your gameplay and allow you to do a lot more things you wouldn't be able to do without her buffs. You use her self-revives in a supportistic way, or if your teammates are rushing, you can use your Finka boost to give them the buffs while you sit in support with your gun holding a sightline like you would with Blackbeard. With Glaz, you repel and hold a power position just like you would with Blackbeard, but you use your smokes to see through them or your grenades to destroy any bulletproof utility. With Grim, you want to be taking your sweet time, droning every single corner that you pass and Grim gadgeting any tight power positions that you think defenders might be sitting in, or grimming defenders that you already know where they are so that they either swing you when they're pinged or they don't and you swing them and you get a free kill. With Yana, you can pretty much do everything that you want. The only thing that you really need to do as Yana specifically is the fact that you need to be droning yourself in. She has a clone that's very effective at droning, and because it's from the POV of a person and not a drone, it's way quicker than droning with a drone. So using her ability to quickly drone out the roamers so that you can go kill them is the most effective way to play Yana. With Jackal, you need to be roam clearing. It's pretty simple. You drone in the initial room that you're going to drop into or rappel into, and then you scan for feet if it's there. If it's not there, then you know the room is clear and you keep clearing rooms with that strategy in mind. As Nock, like I said previously in the beginning of the video, you need to be pushing very late. You need to wait for your teammates to use a lot of utility and to make a lot of noise on one side of the map so that you can sneak up past all the cameras and traps in the other side of the map. If you specifically see that they're putting a lot of cameras in one area, you need to push that area so that they don't expect it and you get a lot of free kills. As Ying, you're better off playing in close range maps and throwing your Ying Candelas in close quarters situations so that you are guaranteed a blind and then going in for a kill immediately after. But if you want to play Ying in a better, safer, and more advanced light, you need to use Ying Candelas as you would a lion scan. You use them to create pushes. You flash in initially, and after the flash goes off, you immediately take the space that the flash flash provided, because usually the defenders are just gonna run away from your flashes anyways. And then finally, Zofia. Zofia, you use your utility to destroy defender utility. That's pretty much it. If you see they have an Aruni, an Azami, or any deployable shields, you run Zofia, you destroy said shields, you stun the people behind the shields before you destroy them, and then you get the kill behind the shield afterward. You play here very slowly after droning everything around you because you are a 3 armor, so rushing is not really your best bet. But that is all of the entries, and that's how you play entry in general. If you liked the video, like the video down below, sub the channel down below. My name is Alka, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.